Hi, this is Patty D. Priest. Welcome to Let's Explore Gmail, brought to you by Educate Academy and CATE, the Kentucky Academy of Technology Education. Today we're going to look at the basics of Gmail, and I've put together this little slideshow to kind of explain some of the terminology and things to you, and then we'll actually look at Gmail itself. So what is Gmail? Gmail is a free email application. Pretty much the one that comes with G Suite for Education is the same as the one that you get with your personal account. There are a few differences, but not a lot. It is very powerful, it has a lot of features, and pretty much will do anything you want it to do. I've been using it for a long time, and it's the best email app that I have used. I've used Outlook, I've used Hotmail, I've used several other ones, and I really like Gmail. Alright, so how do you get to it? You go and type in mail.google.com. If you're in the Chrome browser, you don't need to put HTTP or www or anything like that. You can also click on the waffle button. In most of your tabs, when you open in Chrome, you'll see the waffle right here. This is actually called the app switcher, and when you click on it, you can find the mail icon, and it will open Gmail for you. Another way you can get to it is on the mobile app. I use it all the time. I can switch between my work email and my personal emails. It's really, really easy to use and full-featured. Guess what? You have unlimited storage as long as you're in your education account. Like you do with Google Drive, you don't have to worry about your storage limitations. Schools get unlimited storage, not only with Google Drive, but with Gmail as well, which means you'll never run out of room for your messages. There are multiple layouts in Gmail. When I use it, I tried it. This is kind of the default layout here, is you have the primary, the social, and the promotional. And I have gone back to just having the primary tab. All right, another thing is there's something called the conversation view. This puts all of your emails together that are related. And so if you start an email and you get a lot of replies and people responding to your email, it groups them all together rather than putting them all individually. You can undo this and not have the conversation view, but once you get used to it, it really is kind of handy to have the entire conversation there. Another thing you can do is you can star your messages as important, and there are different stars that you can pick to add to your messages, and we'll look at that in a minute. I like it because depending on which star I give, I can go back and search for those emails, and if it's important, it's something I had to follow up on, then I can find it easier. Google also marks important messages with a icon that looks like this. Those are done according to Gmail by their own special recipe. It is based on basically the messages that you read, which ones you delete, kind of topics that you follow, stuff like that. You can, again, turn that on and off, but it does default to having those. Another nice feature of Gmail is that because Google is a powerful search engine, it builds the search into all of its applications, or a lot of them, and so you can use search in order to find emails that you need to go back to, and that's a really handy tool as well. All right, so now that we've looked at all of our slides, let's go to Gmail. I am in the CATE account. This is not my account. And so I picked this one because it is a little less cluttered than the others. So I'm going to come over here first to my settings wheel over here, my cog wheel, and I'm going to click and go down to themes. Because one of the fun things about Gmail is you can add a theme to your background. And so you've got all these different themes you can pick from. There are more down here. You can kind of decide which one you like. The plain color is pretty, but it's not real exciting. And so the neat thing is you can actually add not only more images that come with the Gmail application, but you can add your own photos to your background as well. So you can pick one of these, you click it, click select, it will change your background. So let's try this one here. We're going to click select, and it goes ahead and changes my Gmail background. It does not affect my computer itself. That's totally different. All right, so I'm going to click save. We can leave it like that. You'll notice that your emails are going to kind of block your view of your picture, which is kind of sad, but you got to see your email. So as your email fills up, and goes down, you're going to actually cover most of the picture. All right, so as you go into Gmail, you'll notice that you have a compose button, and right here is where I can click and I can start a new email. When I click on the 2, it's going to bring up my contacts. These are people that are in my contacts. This is, again, my Kate account. And if I want to see all contacts, then I can click here and it's going to bring up contacts that have to do with Gmail as well as Murray State and everything else. So I've got all those there as well. If I don't want to do that, if I know the person's basically their email, I know they're in my contacts there somewhere, I can start typing somebody's name. And if I start typing Jenny's name, you'll notice that she pops up to the top, and that's because I email her a lot. She's part of Kate, and so I can just click on her and add it or hit the enter button. And I can just start again typing somebody's email, and it will pop that up as well. So I can keep adding. Notice after I get 1 or 2 in there, it's going to, probably after you've used it for a while, it's going to pop up other people that you might want to add. It does have the CC and BCC. CC would be a carbon copy. It allows you to send a copy to another person, although they're not the main target of that email. Whereas a blind copy, I like to use that when I send emails out to a lot of people, and I don't necessarily want everybody to know who's on the list. So it looks like it came to just them, but actually it went to a bunch of people. You just don't see them. Okay, you can put your subject in here. It's usually a very important thing to put. That way it gives the reader an idea of what it is the email is about. And then you can type in your message. Notice you can format your message down here. You can change your font. You can change your text size. You can add formatting like bold and italicize. You can change your text color. You can align it in different ways. You can use bullets and numbering. You can indent and indent less. And you can add quotes as well. You can also add files. And so when I click this, it's going to open up my hard drive. I am on a Mac, and so it's going to open up the Finder. If you're on a Windows machine, it's going to open up Explorer. And then you can search through and find files that you want to attach. And let's say I wanted to attach this movie. I can click there and click open, and it's going to add it to my email message. Now I don't want to add that since it is a video. It is for one of our classes, and so we're not going to add that right now. It would add that as an attachment here. If I want to add something from Google Drive, I have the Google Drive icon here, and this way it's going to actually go and search Google Drive, allowing me to go to My Drive, to Team Drives, go to Shared with Me, Recent, and I can also upload a file into Google Drive and share it out that way, right from within Gmail. And so I would just find the email, the video that I want, and let's say I want this untitled presentation. Okay, so I can save that as a drive link and come back here and insert it, and you'll notice that it's inserted as a link. And if I want to get rid of it, I can come over here and click the X, and it's gone. If you share something out of your Google Drive and it is not shared with anybody, and they don't have, like, let's say it's not set to anybody with the link can view, it will prompt you to do that before you actually send, or before it actually sends the email. All right, with photos, you can click here. You can pull photos from photos on your computer, from albums. You can upload them, or you can go to a web address. If you're using them from a web address, please make sure you give, credit where credit is due. But you can also, as you see here, you can choose photos to upload or drag a photo here from Finder or Explorer. Once you have that there, you have the option of putting it inline or as an attachment. Inline means it's going to be part of the message. As an attachment means the file will be attached and you would have to open it to see the picture. So we'll cancel that. Here you can add a link. The nice thing about this is you don't have to paste in the entire link for everybody to see. We know those links can get long and unwieldy, and so you can type in something like webinar link, and then I can highlight that, come here, paste in the link, or I can paste in an email address if that's what I was doing, and it will only display webinar link as a link like it would in any other kind of, like on a website or a link to anything. It makes your email look a lot less messy. I really like that. The other thing I have here are my emojis that I can use, and there are lots to pick from, so I can click here and scroll through them and add whatever it is that I want. Over here, you'll notice that my email is saved, my draft. That's one of the nice things about Google is it saves as you work. I can throw my message away here and discard my draft, or I have some other options here, so I can click. I can go to full screen. This is canned responses. We'll look at those. It's part of the labs, add-ons kind of things to Gmail. Labels we'll probably talk about next week. And then I've got other things like I can print my message before I send it, or I can check the spelling. It will check spelling as you're doing it, but maybe you just want to double check before you send it out, and so you can do that there. I'm going to go ahead and delete this because I'm not going to send it. And we're going to go over away from the left side and go over to the right, and we're going to look at settings. I'm going to come here to settings, and under general you're going to see a lot of different things that you can change, a lot of different settings, and some of these you're going to probably want to use and some of them you may not. Your actual display language is going to default to English. Let's say you're working in Arabic, you can change it to right to left. Your default country code is going to default to the United States. You can choose your maximum page size and number of conversations on your page. The default works pretty well, so I would leave it as that, but you can always play with it. With images, you can always display the images that are sent to you, or you can have it ask or basically let you double click on it before it actually opens. This is a really nice feature that's been added fairly recently. I can enable and undo my send, and I have up to 30 seconds to undo my send, and if I want to do that, and you can recall that email. Default reply behavior, when you hit reply, is going to go to reply if you keep it like this. If you do reply all a lot, you can change it to reply all. Here you can change your default text. So if I want to change my font maybe here to Tahoma or to Georgia, I can change it. I can change the size of my font. I can change the color, and then I can remove all the formatting if I want to do that. If I do that, it takes it back to the defaults. And let's leave it at Tahoma for now. Remember we talked about conversation view? Well, here you can turn conversation view off. It does default to on, and so this is where you go. I don't archive my mails because we have unlimited storage, but if you needed to send your email and archive it at the same time, you can do that and show that button. You can turn on notifications here. I don't particularly like notifications, but they are there, and you can set them up for new mail notifications or just important mail notifications. Those will be the ones that Google thinks are important. All right, here are your stars. Notice I have 4 stars that I can choose from at the moment. If I want to add more, say I want the purple star, I can add that here. So I just drag them from down there, from the not in use to the in use. And if I want the from the bottom, I can drag them in. If I don't want it, I can drag it back down. And so I have those options. Keyboard shortcuts defaults to off. You can turn it on. Your picture, you can change your picture here. This is the picture that appears up in the upper right hand corner. And so you can change that here and make sure you choose whether it's visible to everybody or only visible to people you are chatting with. Your contacts, if you send an email message to a new person, you can choose to add those contacts automatically to your contacts, or you can add them yourself. I tend to add them myself because I get a lot of email and I respond to a lot of email that I may never respond to or send email to them again. And so I don't want them necessarily in my contacts, so I do it the other way. In this case, it really doesn't matter. With your signature, this is a great place to put in your name, address. You can put phone number, put your email, website, and you can also add a picture. For those of you working on Google certifications, you can come here and click Insert Image. After you've taken your test and you've gotten your little badge for that, let's say you're a Certified Educator Level 1, you can click here and then go to your drive or upload that certification badge and then display it in your email. Under snippets, where you say show snippets, when you're in your inbox, it will show who the mail is from, it'll show the title of the email, and if you have the show snippets, it's going to show you the very beginning of that email text. It's kind of like when you do a web search in Google, or you can actually see a little bit of the website and what it's about. And so that is, to me, it works really well, but you can also turn that off. I like to kind of see what it's about, and then I decide whether I want to read it right now or wait till later. So vacation responder, if you're not going to be in school or around for a period of time, even if it's a day, you can turn this on. The first day, you can put in the last day, your subject, and then you can put in your text. Options you have are to send only this email to your people in your contacts, or you can send this email to only people in your domain, which for me would be Murray State University. When I'm done, I need to make sure I save my changes, and so I've done that. Before we go on, let's look at some other settings. The one that I wanted to show you before we went on, we'll look at mostly at settings next time, but remember I showed you in the presentation where it showed primary, social, and promotions. It is going to default to having these three on. You can also put in updates and forums. I have mine set just for primary, but this is where you would come and change those settings. And so I wanted to point that out to you as well. These important markers, the thing that Google puts on there, you can show or not show. That's your choice. With the filtered mail, you can make these changes too. We'll talk more about filtered mail next time as well. All right, let's go to, we'll just cancel that. And over here, you'll notice this important marker here. This was placed there by Google because it is about a Minecraft camp that we get a lot of email about, starting at about now and until camps go on this summer. And so they have figured out that that might be an important email. You'll notice to the left, you have these stars. And if I come here and I click once, twice, 3 times, notice how it scrolls through all of my choices until it finally takes it off. And so I can choose if something is important or I need to mark it in a way, I can choose which star that I want to add to it. And even if it's not a star, they still consider it a star. All right, over to your left, you have not only, we looked at your inbox, this is what we have here. Starred, there's nothing in there. But if I go back to inbox and I put a star on one of these, go back to starred, it's going to appear there. You want to unstar things that are no longer important or that don't need to be starred anymore so that you don't end up with a lot of things in there. So I'm going to unstar that. Important, notice there's a lot of things here. You're not seeing all these emails because of the way this account is set up. These are all ones that were marked with that thing. Notice you can also in your inbox, you can add that to any email that you want to. Sent mail allows you to search through the emails that you have sent out. Drafts will show you any drafts that you have not completed and sent. And the rest of these we're going to look at next time. Most of these are labels that you can apply to your email. All right, if I have an email in my email box and I click on it, I can come over here and let's say I'm looking at this and I'm at home at night and I think, oh man, I shouldn't have read this because I really need to make sure I do this when I get back to work. I can come over here to this drop down and I can mark this as unread. That way, when I come into work in the morning and I look at my email, it will still be unread. I set up my email box so that my unread messages are all at the top and everything that I've read is below that. And so it pops that back up to the top. You have all these other options. If you need to reply to a message, you can click the button here, but if you need to reply to all, you can come to the drop down, click reply all. You can also click forward, and then you can do all these other things. You can print, you can add that person to your contacts list, you can delete the email, you can block the person, you can report spam and phishing, and you can also translate the message. I've not done that, but you do have that option. So those are there as well. Notice you can print your message from here. That gives you that option. We can search our email. So if we go back to the inbox, I can come up here and I can just maybe type in Jennifer's email, and I can see that there are a few emails in there that are from Jennifer. And so that would be a quick and easy way to find the emails from her. Notice I do get a drop down here. And so if I am getting emails, let's say it's from Jennifer or it's from Ginny, people I get a lot of emails from, I can put their name here, but I can also say, okay, I'm looking for something that has to do with Minecraft, or I'm looking for something that has to do with the CCR Summit. So I can put the subject in here, or I can say it has the words. And I probably wouldn't want her email address there. I'd want that up at the top, but it might have the words CCR Summit. And it helps me to narrow down that search. And so that's a really great way to find things. And that's very similar to finding things when you're searching with Google. So that's it for today. We're really just barely touched the basics, but that will get you started. Next week we'll look at more of the hardcore stuff, the stuff that you set up once and usually never go back and touch. Have a great week. There will be an assignment in Google Classroom for you to do and turn in. Like I said, have a great week, and I'll see you next week.